Now on CoastTV News.
Marijuana soon for sale when the drug will be on the market in Delaware. Long neck fire, the circumstances firefighters had to battle. Chesapeake Bay feedback, your voice crucial to the waterway's health.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
Wind turbines closer to becoming a reality off Delmarva's coast. Good evening, I'm Charlie Sakaitis. This billboard shows opposition to wind farms on Delmarva. Opponents got a slight win in the form of a compromise over a bill that would overturn Sussex County's denial of an offshore wind substation. Coast TV's Brandon Ferguson shows us what's next for the project.
This footage shows the old Indian River power plant where U.S. Wind wants to build a substation for an offshore wind farm. That was denied by County Council last year, but a new bill would overturn that to an extent. A bill just passed that will require counties to approve conditional use permits for substations located on unincorporated land if the proposed facility meets a specific set of conditions and is renewable energy. However, it won't go into effect until next year. That is to allow court proceedings of U.S. Wind's lawsuit against Sussex County to play out. Senate Republicans say the offshore wind bill was a sticking point before legislators okayed a $977 million bond bill, saying, quote, "By doing so, the agreement protects the authority of Delaware's courts to decide the matter fairly and independently." Off camera, people told us they were worried about offshore wind hurting sea life, but Jane Moore is a local and doesn't see a problem with the offshore wind programs.
I don't think it's going to affect anything other than it could help bring down the cost for electricity if it was for everybody.
Here in December, Sussex County Council voted 4-1 to deny the conditional use request of U.S. Wind to build an electrical substation near the old location of the Indian River power plant. The reversal of that will now have to wait a year due to the compromise and as court cases continue. In a statement today, U.S. Wind says the newly passed state law, quote, helps eliminate unlawful and unnecessary hurdles to a project that will help ensure electric reliability. In Sussex County, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Offshore wind projects may get a boost at the federal level. Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed the Senate, but a major last-minute change has Congressman Andy Harris sounding the alarm. In the House version of the bill, construction of offshore wind projects has to begin in the next 2 months, and turbines have to be spinning by the end of 2027. If that did not happen, companies could lose out on tax credits. Harris says that the Senate extended the timeline for both construction and completion.
This is a major setback for us who want to see the offshore wind projects defeated. So right now, we've got to change that thing in the House, or I can't support the bill as it is.
The legislation now heads back to the House. Harris expects a final version to be approved by early next week. Heads up, Georgetown drivers, a four-way stop sign will be going here. This is Little Hill Road and Carey's Camp Road. The work starts on Tuesday. According to the Office of the Marijuana Commissioner, Delaware will begin legal adult use marijuana sales on August 1st. All conversation or conversion licenses may begin recreational sales on that date. Last December, the office announced the successful applicants for 125 available licenses in its public license lottery. Vehicle registration fees on the rise once again in Maryland. The new prices went into effect today, and drivers with larger cars like heavy-duty pickup trucks, they're paying the highest price. Their fees went up by $30. People with smaller cars that weigh less than 3,500 pounds will see a $10 increase. Drivers we spoke with are not thrilled, but they do see a silver lining.
If it goes to the proper place where it should, and that is, I think, upkeep of the roads, and having traveled down Interstate 95 or across country, there are some states where the roads are really not very good.
Registration fees can be more than $100 cheaper in Virginia, and according to MDOT, a significant number of Maryland drivers are switching their registration to there illegally. Governor Matt Meyer signed legislation that improves Delaware's Workers' Compensation Act. Senate Bill 145 allows workers' compensation payments to be made to claimants by direct deposit. Advocates say it increases the reimbursement percentage of activities from 66.6 to 100%. Senate Bill 164 provides a one-time increase of 3% in aggregate workers' compensation medical expenses. That is to correct reimbursements for medical services coded as evaluation and management for workers' compensation cases. Check this out. A large fire in the Bay City development caused neighbors to hear multiple explosions. That's according to the Indian River Volunteer Fire Company. Firefighters say nobody was hurt, and they're still trying to figure out what caused the giant fire you see. Troopers are investigating after a woman was found dead in Frankfort. Police say they had a welfare check at a home on Zion Church Road. Officers say the woman was dead with an apparent gunshot wound. While details are scarce, police say they don't think there is a public threat to safety. On the last day of session, the Delaware Senate passed House Bill 182. This bill prohibits local law enforcement agencies from working with ICE or other federal authorities for immigration enforcement. Sussex County Representatives Brian Shoup and Jeff Halovsky voted against it, but people from the community like Carmen Robledeo, whose parents are immigrants from Guatemala, thinks this bill is critical.
It's important for everybody because when the officers are now focusing on public safety, it's better for everybody now that we're not using those resources anywhere else other than their main focus and what their mission is.
CoastTV News reached out to the governor's office to find out if and when he plans to sign this bill into law, but we have not heard back yet. This brings us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know, how do you feel about banning local police from partnering with ICE? Let's take a look at the updated results. 65% of people say they oppose it, 34% they support it, and just 1% is unsure. If you haven't voted yet, or if you want to leave a comment, you can do that at coasttv.com. We will show you updated results on Coast TV News at 11. And we're just getting started. The Lifeguard Olympics on the way when you can cheer on the champs. But first, the time is up for restaurants in Delaware to throw out their plastic. We're back in 60 seconds.
Believe it or not, we've been quite fortunate. The thunderstorms that have possibly spawned to tornadic activity or possible tornadoes, most of them are carrying on to our north, but we're still getting our fair share of the stormy weather. Take a look, for example, our Bay Health camera in Milford right now. We're starting to see the ominous aspects of the storm that's pushing through. And the wave you see on your screen there, well, that's the heavy downpours that's associated with these storms. Not only are we concerned about the possibility of very strong winds, in excess of 45 to 50 miles per hour, by the way, but we're looking at heavy downpours that could cause quick flash flooding, particularly in areas where drainage has always been historically a bit of an issue. We're at 89 degrees. That's a ton of energy in place to fuel these storms, although the storms are moving relatively slow. So that's a bit of good news as well. Now, as you take a look, here's the latest cell that I've been keeping a close eye on near Bowers, as well as Thompsonville and Chestnut Knoll. Now, we have a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning right here, and this is part of the cell that's prompted all of that. Now, you'll notice here on the left side of your screen, see that signature right there? The red, it turns from red to yellow. That means an ebbing and flowing between being strong and weakened, but close to that threshold of being a great concern. So I kind of widened the scope of this, took away the radar, so you can see we have these isolated cells up towards Vinland, north of Dover, over here towards Oxford. But fortunately, it's leaving us alone for now, and that's a good thing because we don't necessarily want to deal with it, but we do have a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning. It will stay active until 6:30, and this cell that's pushing throughout the Georgetown area south of Milford right now as well. It's now seeing its wrath being felt right now along Highway 113 near King's Crossroads and toward the Redden community. Ellendale is also starting to feel it initially right now as we speak. As we begin to kind of track this right over towards the east, we're expecting for it to move through Milton by 6:14. Then Lewis by 6:29, Wildwood by 6:53, and this isolated cell of concern is going to head towards Slaughter Beach and possibly reach Slaughter Beach within the next 20 to 25 seconds and then hit lower at 6:43. Then I'm keeping a close eye on this cell near Sharptown, Columbia in the extreme southwest corner of the county. Then let's talk about what to expect. At about 8:30, we're looking out for this to reignite near Denton, all right, and then it's going to fall our direction. The only reason I gave you Denton as a marker is because it's going to fall from Denton towards Seaford and then move right over Milton and then pop up over towards Ocean Pines. So I'm keeping a very close eye on that with our forecasting models indicating it could be a bit of an ominous situation. Our threat for tonight is going to be at a level 2. Not necessarily the highest, but not the lowest at the same time. So we're looking for scattered, short-lived storms. By 9:30, one of our models indicating it's going to be right over Georgetown and Milton by 9:30, and then another cell is going to push through by 11:30 down towards Salisbury. And then we'll have another round possibly on Wednesday afternoon as well, going into later tonight. We're looking at perhaps between Lewis and Milton with another one of our models. So we have several models that are agreeing that this is going to stay an aggressive storm at least till the 10 to 11 o'clock hour. So wet on Wednesday, clear out on Thursday and Assateague. Same holds true for us in Ocean City. Blazing sunshine and the heat kicks right back in going into the weekend for Ocean City. And then for Lewis, stormy on Wednesday and we kick it out. Now for your forecast, tonight stormy, tomorrow stormy, but by Thursday, the mugginess and the clear skies return. Here's a look at your extended forecast. 4th of July celebrations should go without a hitch because the thunderstorm should be done.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
Today marks the start of less plastic in Delaware. A bill was passed in 2023 that gave restaurants in Delaware until July 1st, today, 2025, to swap out some single-use plastics. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zapay shows us how this change could affect you.
Madison Lewis is the owner of High Tide Coffee and Bowls in Fenwick Island, and she says they've been following the new Delaware rules when it comes to plastic ever since they opened up 5 years ago.
I think it's important to be conscious of the plastic use just because we're right across the street from the beach. So trying to limit that as much as possible is really important to us.
A bill that was signed in 2023 officially took effect today, which bans single-use plastics such as to-go boxes, plastic stirrers used for drinks, and will now be giving out paper straws unless the person asks for a plastic one. While some people like the change, such as local Stephen Rock,
I personally don't have any problems with it. I think in general they're pretty wasteful to have single-use plastic straws and or containers.
Lewis says she's had customers going out of their way to say no to the paper.
Quite often people will get drinks and I'll go to hand them a paper straw and they'll ask me if it's a paper straw and then choose to not use it. I think a lot of people don't like the paper straws because when they get wet, they just kind of like fall apart.
With paper straws not pleasing everyone, Rock hopes a new kind of straw comes out that is effective for the consumer while still keeping the environment safe. I'm Kevin Zapay, Fenwick Island, Coast TV News.
If you care about the health of the Chesapeake Bay, here's your chance to weigh in on its future. The Chesapeake Bay program has officially opened the public feedback period for the draft revised Chesapeake Bay Watershed Agreement. The original agreement, signed back in 2014, laid out 10 goals and 31 outcomes for cleaning up the watershed. The draft revised agreement simplifies those original 10 goals into 4 main priorities: thriving habitats and wildlife, clean water, healthy landscapes, and engaged communities. From today, July 1st through September 1st, you can share your thoughts and your suggestions. Ocean City is attempting to improve cellular service for music festivals. Mayor Rick Meehan and the council are reviewing a request by Singular and Verizon to place small cell antennas in the downtown area, specifically to cover the inlet parking lot and the boardwalk between Wicomico Street and First Street. The next big festival in town is late September with Oceans Calling. Rehoboth Beach is set to welcome the top lifeguards on the East Coast, with the Rehoboth Beach Patrol hosting the United States Life-Saving Association Mid-Atlantic Regional Championships. That'll be Wednesday, July 9th. More than 300 lifeguards from New York and Virginia and everywhere in between will compete in sand surf events. They hope to qualify for nationals in California next month. The competition kicks off at 8 a.m. at the Baltimore Avenue Beach. That is right in front of the Patrol's new headquarters.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
NBA free agency is underway, and the biggest move so far was a subtraction rather than an addition. The Bucks released 9-time All-Star Damian Lillard. Lillard turns 35 on July 15th. He ruptured his Achilles in the opening round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. and played just 58 games this season while battling deep vein thrombosis. By releasing the veteran guard, Milwaukee can now stretch the remaining $113 million Lillard is owed over the next 5 years rather than pay it in 2. And the Bucks acted quickly, signing Pacers big man Miles Turner to a 4-year, $107 million contract. Turner averaged over 15 points per game this past season for the Eastern Conference champs. And a shock in tennis. Reigning French Open champ and world number 2 Coco Gauff fell in the opening round of Wimbledon. Ukrainian Diana Yastremski pulled off the stunner. Gauff becomes the 8th top 10 seed to fall in the first round between the men's and women's tournament this year. That's the most in any majors opening round in the Open era. And here on DSN, tune into Shorebirds baseball tonight at 7. Delmarva hosts the Fredericksburg Nationals at 7:05.
Wanted to take an opportunity to update you on what's happening with our weather situation. It looks like it's getting better for us right now, but we still have some heavy downpours that's just starting to taper off a little bit for us in Milford, courtesy of our Bay Health camera. And we are expecting for us, still we can see some flaring ups going to occur. Even though I see the storms dying a quick death right now, the forecasting models are still saying it's going to reignite. So we want to keep a close eye on that for the rest of the night. We have an active severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to expire in about 7 minutes. But you can see how this is dwindling and how all of the possible stronger cells move way up here to our north and out of our immediate area. Now, I am keeping a close eye on one cell that's redeveloping here just on the other side of Burrsville, Brownsville, and Whitleysburg, headed towards Hollinsdale. This is bringing with it some dense lightning strikes that's associated with it. And it's going to be tracking over towards Riverview by 6:43, Lebanon by 6:52, and then hitting the Bowers community at 7:02. Now we jump over here to remind everybody we're still under a severe thunderstorm watch, meaning that we have the ingredients in place to easily form another tornado, another severe thunderstorm, And so we have that severe thunderstorm watch that's staying active. Now what I'm seeing here, you see how just occasionally for a flash or two, we're starting to see that circulation that's popping up. Even with that being the case, the actual cells are dying down. But in tracking this, we're looking forward to hit the Mount Vernon community, then Eden, possibly Salisbury, and headed towards Colburn. And a wider view of this is showing that this is really dwindling and petering out. This right here, north of Easton, I want to keep a close eye on that because that seems to stay pretty active for right now, and it could stay cohesive. Now, this is the other part I want to show you. This is why I'm concerned about it possibly reigniting tonight. This is 7 o'clock. We see all this is to the north where it is right now. And that's called verifying for us. Now watch this real quick. As you go to 8:30, we see it swelling up near Highway 13. And then, boom, it just explodes at 10 o'clock. We'll wait and see if this is going to happen. On one side of this, we do have the energy and the moisture in place for it to happen. On the other side of it, we've had such an aggressive first wave, it may have literally just wore the battery out. You get what I'm saying? So it might not have enough juice to ignite like that. But then we have another surge coming by early Wednesday morning. By the way, real quick, with all this rain, our umbrella winner, Barb Eller, you're going to be able to use this umbrella. You're from Lewis, and we're glad that you're able to get your umbrella, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Stormy for tonight, that's true. Then watching out for the storms for Wednesday morning, probably up until like lunchtime. And then it'll begin to break off for us. Thursday could see a sprinkle or two, but 4th of July celebrations on the 4th of July, looking more clear than anything else, Charlie.
Love to see that, Paul. Sometimes you get a little bit lucky with these kind of things. Thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6. For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app. The NBC Nightly News is next, and we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great evening.